Have you ever wondered how much sales of a product would drop if a business raised its price? This is where price elasticity of demand comes in. PED is an essential concept that measures the responsiveness of demand to a change in its price. In simple terms, it tells us how sensitive consumers are to a change in price. Now, to calculate the price elasticity of demand, we use this formula: the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. Let's look at an example. Imagine the price of a chocolate bar goes up by 10%, and as a result of that, your demand falls by 5%. In this case, the PED would be minus 0.5. By the way, PED is almost always a negative number because of the law of demand. As price rises, quantity nearly always moves in the opposite direction. Now, the PED value tells us whether demand is price elastic or price inelastic. If the absolute value is greater than 1, then we say that the demand is price elastic. What's happening is that a change in price leads to a bigger percentage change in quantity demanded. So it means that consumers are very sensitive to price changes. Examples might be expensive luxury goods or products with many close substitutes. If you go to Tesco and the Tesco value bread goes up by 10%, you're quite likely to switch to another brand. Inelastic demand, this is when the absolute value is less than 1. And what is happening here is that a change in price leads to a smaller than proportional change in demand. So it means that consumers are less sensitive to changes in the price. So examples could include goods you're addicted to, like cigarettes or alcohol, essential goods with few substitutes. So if you drive a car, your demand for petrol will tend to be quite inelastic. Now, what is the value of PED? Well, if you're a business, it could be very useful for knowing how to increase your revenue. So, for example, if you know that demand is very price sensitive, then raising the price will cause a proportionally bigger fall in demand, leading to a fall in total revenue. So when demand is price elastic, you're more likely to want to try to cut price to increase sales more than proportionally. But of course, if demand is inelastic, if you're a monopoly or you're selling a good with few substitutes, then it's pretty good news for the business because you can raise the price and that will only cause a smaller percentage change in demand, increase your overall revenue. So when demand is inelastic, businesses should consider raising their price. And by the way, this is why firms like to get monopoly power, because when you have monopoly power, demand tends to become more inelastic. So price elasticity of demand is a powerful tool. It helps firms to make decisions and helps the government to predict the impact of taxes on consumption. So the key takeaway: elastic demand means that consumers are flexible, whereas inelastic demand means that they will keep buying the good even when price goes up. One final thing about elasticity is that it can vary over time. In the 1970s, when oil prices tripled overnight, the demand for oil was pretty inelastic. Because we really needed it, there weren't many alternatives. But since then, demand for oil has become less inelastic, a bit more price sensitive because we now have greater choice, greater alternatives to oil like electric cars. And one final thing is that if the price of chocolate goes up, demand will probably be inelastic. But what about an individual brand of chocolate? Well, if an individual brand goes up, demand will probably be more elastic because there's so many other choices of chocolate to choose from.